Greetings. Today I'm going to be talking about some pieces of Kapital outerwear from my personal closet. I've been collecting for a couple years now. I'll be basically breaking this up by 5 different jackets, and if there's one that you're specifically interested in, feel free to just skip to that part of the video and watch it. I'll have it highlighted in the slider. First on the list, I am going to talk about the probably biggest grail to most people. This is the Boro jacket, and you can see the tags are still on it. I literally just got this over the weekend. I'd say it's one of my biggest grails, like pretty much anyone that collects Kapital. People probably know the most famous iteration of this would be the Louis Vuitton collaboration that Kapital did in 2013 maybe, where the Hirata family actually went to Paris and worked with Kim Jones to create a certain Louis Vuitton set basically of like Hawaiian shirts, shorts, trucker jackets, but this is a type 1 jacket. I'll bring it over here actually so you can see a better angle of it. It's a type 1 jacket, and you can see the sort of characteristic by the single pocket that we have here, as well as the pleated front. You can sort of see those pleats, and then there's also a buckle back. So you'll see this in the close-up. I got the spring version of the jacket, which you will see a sort of Cupro cotton liner inside of it, using a pattern that you've maybe seen on other Kapital pieces before. But what's so interesting to me about this jacket is that Boro fabric typically is maybe like 100 years old. It's very, very old fabric, and it's these textiles that are woven over generations and passed down through families and constantly remended. But what Kapital does is they actually source new fabric, and behind closed doors they figured out a way to age it so it comes off like, you know, this sort of vintage, I don't even want to say vintage, but you know, century old jacket. And that's what this looks like. I mean, it looks like something that's been sitting in the back of like a barn or something like that. And I really enjoy how taking something that was once a necessity, like Boro was once used for lower class Japanese families as a means of, you know, reusing garments, and they've made it to honor their history in this outrageously expensive jacket. For good reason it's expensive, but this is actually on the cheaper end of Boro items, I would say. At $2,000 US, this jacket is somehow on the lower end of the spectrum. I've seen bespoke Boro blazers sell for $10,000. There's just so much history to just like visual iconography essentially to look at when you see this jacket, and it's just so specific to Kapital. You don't see any other Japanese brand doing Boro at this level of detail. And you can see the sashiko stitch throughout all of it, horizontally, vertically, all the different sort of patchwork going on. And beyond that, speaking about sizing, I'll say that I got a 5 in this jacket. I'm typically a 4, but with the spring liner, I was thinking somewhat along the lines of layering and wanting to be able to wear sweaters underneath this jacket, and sizing up to a 5 also allows for that. It's a little long on the sleeves, but I don't think it looks sort of too big, I would say. It looks like it fits me just right. But the autumn version of it, or the fall winter version of it, has sort of like a Navajo blanket to the inside of it, while this is, as I mentioned, a cotton Cupro interior. And yeah, that would be the first item. For my second item on my list of outerwear, I'll be talking about this Smiley embroidered denim jacket. So this jacket is actually a Westerner jacket based on the Lee Ryder jacket, and if you Google that jacket, it's basically a one-to-one in terms of the pocket placement. Even the little tab, the little capital tab, is pretty much one-to-one, and then sort of the stitching throughout all of it matches. I think it's the Lee 101J. And so this uses an 11.5 ounce denim. It's extremely light. I think it's very perfect for the spring. On the back of it, you have adjustable buttons here that you can use to sort of make it fit you tighter. I think I opted for a size 44. As I said before, I'm a 4 typically in most items from Kapital, but I just throw a t-shirt on underneath this. I think it's really great for spring, fall, maybe not so much winter. You might want a coat to put over it, but then I sort of have trouble with the embroidery, as I don't want something to catch on it and pull. The denim itself is extremely soft. It feels very worn in already, very broken in, and that probably comes from the low weight of it. For the third jacket on the list, I'll be featuring arguably my rarest jacket, this Century Denim Bomber. The number 5 version of this jacket is extremely interesting because it uses kakishibu dyeing, which uses dried persimmons to dye the jacket a brownish color. Kakishibu itself is naturally water repellent and also bug repellent. The jacket features a sashiko stitch throughout that's indigo dyed, as well as sort of elastic waist, cuffs, and collar that are all also indigo dyed to match the sashiko. So I'm not sure what year this is from, but what I can say is that in searching the terms, the keywords both in Japanese and English, I was only able to find 3 different images of the same bomber online. While rarity doesn't exactly mean it's super expensive in price, I'd say that this is probably from, the latest that I think it could be from is 2019. Although I really do think it probably dates back to 2018 or maybe 2017. There's also the potential that it is just a Century Denim store exclusive, which would be the Ginza store. More than anything, I really just love this jacket because I think that so often brands get caught up repeating the same silhouettes, and this is something so unique in comparison to like anything else Century Denim you've ever seen before. I actually went for a size 2 on this. I'm really excited to see how this distresses over time, because like the Century Denim that I featured in an earlier video, this also has the flowering throughout that'll make for a really interesting sort of snakeskin pattern. For the 4th piece of outerwear, I'll be featuring another grail to many Kapital collectors, and that would be the navy bandana Keel vest. Now I know some people like the red version, some people like the black version. I personally have opted for blue, as that is sort of the color that I love. I think that all of Japanese fashion, you probably end up with a lot of indigo, and all the different hues of blue really look amazing together. So this is made out of a woven nylon. It's fully reversible, so you have this bandana on the outside, and on the inside, it's basically fully black. And you have this graphic on the back of it, as well as 2 snap pockets. And my favorite detail on this jacket are actually the hidden pockets on the outside of the jacket. They're extremely spacious, and you would never guess that they're there, but I think it's about the 3rd notch. Yep, there's actually a hidden pocket on each side that's separate from the interior pocket. And I also really love the zipper. It's just such an amazing little detail. And based on what I could find on the internet, this is entirely done by hand, and that's because it's such a complex product to produce. The stuffing is done by hand, the weaving is done by hand. Something interesting that I also read about was that you can take your scarves or your bandanas that you buy from Kapital and sort of weave it throughout. And I'd love to try and do that at some point, but this is just such an amazing piece to layer with. You can put sweaters on underneath it, you know, wear it with just a t-shirt in the springtime if you want. It has such a sort of stocky and bulky silhouette to it. Yeah, it doesn't look like sort of exacerbated in the way maybe a Vetmont bomber would look. So I think this just fits perfectly. And it's so insanely surprising given the fact that this piece here is actually a size 2 yet again. So I guess that's a common theme, that some size 2s in outerwear actually fit a size 4, but yeah. So the last jacket on the list is definitely an oddity. You don't see it as much with Kapital collectors or just, you know, people that like the brand in general. I just think it's quite an interesting silhouette, and that is the 60-40 Kung Fu Mountain Parka. As you can see already, this is extremely different than any of the other items I showed off. This is from Spring Summer 20, which was titled Confusion, and that probably cues you into the idea behind this jacket. As you can see, there are traditional Chinese frog buttons going all the way down this that, you know, they loop in place, and then beneath that you also have a series of snap buttons. You have 2 side pockets on the item. You have 2 stretchy gray cotton panels. This side reads Confusion and this side reads Surf. And then you also have a short Mandarin collar right here. And probably the coolest part of this jacket is that it's fully reversible. And so if you're not feeling this side, you can just turn it inside out and it becomes a lot more subdued, extremely fast. I guess the only downside is you would have the Kapital label, but it also snap buttons this way, and on the inside now you can sort of see some of the interior details. I really love that there's a zipper pocket. I'm a big fan of interior pockets. I don't always love to like put my wallet in my pants pocket, so if I can just throw it in my coat pocket, that's great. You also have some adjustable pulleys to, you know, make the jacket fit how you like. But this is sort of an oddity for my wardrobe. I don't own a lot like it, but that doesn't mean I'm necessarily against it. This is actually a size 3, but I would say it fits me like my other size 4 jackets. Like any Japanese brand, you really have to sort of try everything on and get a really good sense of how stuff fits you, because the difference between a 3 and 4, whether, like, some people don't want to admit it, but it really can drastically change the way that the item looks on you in terms of like the silhouette it creates. And so really be respectful about that when purchasing clothes. You're spending a decent amount of money on these, so make sure that you buy whatever's going to fit you the best and make you feel the most confident. I hope that this was informative for anyone looking to buy any of these pieces or looking for more information. This is just one of those brands that I think the community is really small and tight-knit, and I'm really excited to add to that with my videos. And just like in any of my other videos, please let me know in the comments if there is a piece of information I get wrong, if there's something that I can learn that I did not mention. I'm trying to make these videos very brief, but also very informative to keep you guys not only entertained, but fully educated on what you're buying. I really hope that you enjoyed this. Drop a comment if you have any sort of ideas about another video I could do. I don't just want to talk about Kapital. There are plenty of other topics I'd like to look into, but I just figured this was a good thing to talk about. With that being said, I'm going to call the video here. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.